So I'm going to start by commenting on Everbread. I was very impressed by the passion of the presenter. This is a day where we're looking at 32 PowerPoint presentations, lots of bullet points and text and stuff. I particularly like the theatrics involved in rolling up his sleeves. I thought that was very good. Having said that, I didn't really understand why it was innovative, although I suspect this is an alternative to the ITA Google thing. And from that point of view, I think that's good. The military traveller example didn't really help me, but honestly, I'm a little bit in the dark about that business. Miles Blaster or Mile Blaster and using miles, I frankly saw as being in the same bucket. Miles junkies are going to love these sites, and I think they're going to get a lot of usage from miles junkies. But for the same reasons that there are billions of dollars worth of gift certificates sitting in our collective bottom drawers that we ignore month after month after month and year after year, I suspect frequent flyer miles are going to continue to be ignored by a majority of the holders of them. So I think it's a hard row to hoe for these guys.
Okay, my turn. So I'm going to comment on e-channel search. So to me, it sounded like an ad network with, a more customized twist to it. I was wondering how much customization you would need to do for every customer, because you seem to be integrated within the provider's database. So that was a question for me I did not understand. And I thought also, wow, Google has a pretty good handle on that. The ad serving and, making sure you can customize your ad and everything. But then again, with Bing and Yahoo trying to get into that business, it could be interesting. And then you started talking about your ROI, which seems like you can double, the click rate and so on. And I thought, boy, you should have started with that in this presentation. Then I would have paid a lot of attention to it. Because I think if you have those numbers, I would raise money very quickly and try to expand into other fields. Because if you can have those kind of results for your customer, this is great. Just a quick comment on Off and Away. Really love the concept. I think it sounds like a money printing machine. So seems clever to me. Not sure it's totally legal, but seems very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, so actually I might as well segue into the Off and Away comment. I have a problem with businesses that rely on the ignorance of consumers to grow. And I think if consumers really understood how much money they stand to lose, I think the state of California even has laws against prepayments that even expire. You can't have a credit card expire in California. And I think the state's attorney general would make me leery about wanting to go on a board of a company with that kind of exposure. The Mile Blaster, the idea of a modest fee from travelers to track their miles, I think, is a huge risk you need to prove. I think it's easy to gain status. You focus on one airline. And if you try and do a lot of airlines, unless you're flying as much as some of the people up here fly, you're probably not going to earn status. It's kind of straightforward. So I'm not sure the problem is as large as they make it out to be that I'll want to pay for it. And in terms of the usingmiles.com, I was fascinated. They have 2 MBAs working on algorithms for pricing the value of a mile. And all I could think is how proud those parents must be of those 2 MBAs.
I'll take a little more straightforward approach to using miles. I think it's going to be difficult to maintain consistent long-term access to the loyalty data that you need to do that number crunching. So there's a fair amount of risk in that business. I also question the validity of the model that charges consumers under the Mile Blaster model. I'm in agreement with Sophie on the Off and Away model. It is a money-making engine or money-producing engine. But there is a lot of difficulty in scaling that kind of business. It's a high-end audience. If it works, it could work beautifully. It could be a new price line, but it's going to take a lot of faith among investors, unless you have access to capital that's unlimited in your own pockets, to make that model work. The one business I was particularly intrigued with, actually 2 businesses, is on the Google ITA environment right now, is Everbread. I think they're going to get some clear sailing because there are so many people looking for alternatives to the Google ITA combination, and what is behind that Everbread engine, which I agree that did not come across as clearly as it might, is potentially quite powerful in the market. And on the e-channel search model, I think that there is a natural competitive advantage they have that's counterintuitive to being eaten up by Google. I really like the approach they've taken. It's one of the few media businesses that's an actual media business that I've seen in a long time, and I think it has fantastic scalability. Agree with Sophie, maybe you can modify your presentation and put some of that number validity up front, because if you can show an ad spend efficiency like that, you will have customers, because there will be people buying keywords for a long time to come.